Oh, yeah. This is Scare Talk. I am Danny, and I am here with Cantankerous Katrina.
Wow. Okay.
I don't think I've done that one.
No.
And we've got Jealous Joel.
Hey guys, what's up? I'm jealous tonight.
Yeah, I don't know why, but
Yeah.
maybe I don't know. Maybe you're going to be jealous of how well I rate these movies.
Oh man.
Oh,
Totally.
okay. Getting some hints over here.
Well, how accurate I rate
Oh,
them.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I should put it that way. So we are here to do a double feature. We've got Speak No Evil, the American version, just came out. And then we have the original Speak No Evil, the Danish version from 2022. So we wanted to do a little versus episode to compare the two. We're going to start with the brand new Speak No Evil. And we'll talk about that one. No spoilers. Then we'll talk about the original. No spoilers. And then in Patreon, we will compare and talk spoilers for both. So you're going to want to stick around and sign up for Patreon. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to our channel, like this video, send us a comment, and we will for sure get back to you.
Yes.
All right. Joel, can you tell us who is a part of Speak No Evil 2024?
2024. All right. So this one stars James McAvoy. He was in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, Split, and Glass. The X-Men prequels. There's like 4 or 5 of them. He is Young Professor X and It Chapter 2.
Oh.
So hasn't done much horror, but he needs to do more horror.
Yeah.
And then we got Mackenzie Davis. She is the wife of the other guy, and she was in The Martian, 40 episodes of *Halt and Catch Fire*. I had heard of that show. I'd never watched it though. And Terminator: Dark Fate, and an upcoming horror movie called The Damning of a Country Merchant.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, it's in pre-production, so it's probably like 2025, 26. And then we got Scoot McNairy. He's the husband.
Scoot?
Scoot, yeah.
Okay.
He was in Argo. He was also in *Halt and Catch Fire*. He was in 8 episodes of *True Detective* and *A Quiet Place Part 2*.
Oh.
All right.
It was written by Mads Tafdrup, who wrote *A Horrible Woman*, 10 episodes of Parterapi, and the screenplay for *Speak No Evil* 2024.
Okay.
And and this was also written by Christian Tafdrup. Yeah. And it was also written by James Watkins, who wrote *The Descent Part 2, 8 episodes of McMafia, and *Eden Lake*.
Eden Lake. Yeah.
Yeah. I put that one on when you came and visited, and it's one of the only movies that's ending as actually like made me mad. Like it's I want us to review it because it is a horror movie at some point. But yeah, it made me mad. And this was directed by James Watkins as well, who did *The Woman in Black* and *Eden Lake* in 8 episodes of McMafia as well. So
okay. All right. So the synopsis: a family is invited to spend a whole weekend in a lonely home in the countryside. Lonely? I mean, I guess it's by itself.
Okay.
I thought it was going to say lovely home, but lonely
It
home.
wasn't very lovely.
In the countryside. But as the weekend progresses, they realize that a dark side lies within the family who invited them.
Oh, man.
All right. So, Katrina, can you tell us what the critics and the audience are saying about this one? It is pretty new, so we'll see.
Yeah.
What we got so far.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I will tell you, the critics and the audience are actually saying the exact same thing.
Wow.
Yeah, I could see that with
This
this.
is
with this
interesting.
movie.
I think that's the first time I've seen where the scores are the exact same on Rotten Tomatoes.
Exact. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely haven't seen that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So both the critics and the audience both feel this is pretty fresh. It is at an 85%.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. You know the thing with this movie, I wonder how many people have not seen the original.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm very
Who-
curious. And
And
I'm
watch this.
like really looking forward to talking about that.
Yeah.
The comparisons are just that
yeah.
one in general.
Yeah, just like, and how do you rate this knowing the original?
Yeah. I feel like it's a different rating if you see this by itself.
Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna
Not the
give 2
original?
ratings.
Okay.
I'm gonna have 2 scores. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it does affect it.
It does.
It really
I think
does.
it really does.
Yeah.
But just for this film, James McAvoy thought he did a great job.
Mm.
I like him in pretty much everything he's in.
Yeah.
I think he is very charismatic. He's fun, but then he can turn, obviously, as we see in this movie, he can turn it on when he needs to. So
Yeah.
I really liked him. I knew I was going to, even in the trailer, it was like, okay, yeah, he's perfect for this role.
He really is.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he really has this ability of being 2 separate different people
Well, and
Losing
many
within
different people.
within one whole scene.
Yeah.
Like it's really quite talented
Yeah.
at how he can change it within minutes, seconds,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
you're just like, whoa, what just happened there?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
yeah.
You
Should
know,
I
huh.
Well, I was gonna say, should I say what IMDb
Oh, yeah.
and stuff said?
Oh yeah, sorry.
We're not quite done yet.
I mean,
Whoops.
if you don't care about it.
When you were done, I was like, okay, I think we're done there. Let's move on. But I couldn't. Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
remember. I knew there was something missing. Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Okay. I mean, anyway, IMDb has it at a 7.2.
Okay.
So a little bit lower than Rotten Tomatoes, but then the Google score is at 4.1, which would be an 82%.
Good job.
So the consensus is 85, 85, 82, and then 7.2. So
Yeah.
I
pretty much a liked movie.
yeah, very
Across the
liked
board.
movie.
Well,
IMDb has the lowest.
Isn't Rotten Tomatoes? Doesn't that work? It's it's a fresh at 60, so
Yeah.
85% of people are saying it's 60 or above.
60 or above, yeah.
Yeah, so it could still, equal out to about a 7.2 or whatever. It could still.
True.
It's just 85% are saying it's better than 60. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. But
So 15% say it's not. Say it's under 60.
yeah. Yep.
well, they probably
But
saw the
anything-
original.
Anything in the
Oh. Okay. Yes. All right. See where your rating is going to go.
I would say anything in the 70s or above on Rotten Tomatoes is pretty solid.
Especially
I mean,
for
even
horror.
some of the ones that are under 60, I enjoy. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, especially critic score. Never mind. Just keep talking.
Okay, so obviously, from the synopsis we have, they think they're going into something interesting and fun and nice, and then things start to change. What do you guys think of the progression of the movie?
Sure.
Like how it progressed from like nice to okay, something sinister is happening.
Well, I watched this one after the original, so
okay.
it's a lot of this movie is very, very similar to the original movie. Most of it, except for there are definitely some differences in this movie.
Yeah.
But the progression part was pretty much like, spot on from the original. So like it had all the same beats the original did. So I knew what was going to happen for the most part.
Yeah.
So it kind of like, because I knew it was going to happen, it kind of took a little bit away from the suspense and everything. So
that's exactly why I chose that for my theater experience. I wanted to see it for the first time.
Yeah.
We knew, like, I knew that there was an original, and I knew I wanted to watch the original, but I knew, like, for my theater experience, I wanted it to be brand new, fresh. So I chose to wait till after I saw the one in theater to watch the original.
Yeah.
And I am glad I did that, because it gave me an opportunity to see this movie as a fresh experience, like as a movie on its own, rather than a remake of a movie, because the way they did the remake, I don't think I would have liked this movie as much had I seen the original and then the remake. Because, like, it wasn't just that they did a good job at paying homage to the original, or did a good job at sticking true to the story of the original. Like, they literally, like, word for word, in many cases, it was like word for word. It was like the characters had very similar looks. Like, the look was very similar. The like, even the places that they went, like when they were on their vacation and stuff. Danny's freaking out about this. When they were on their vacation, it was like the exact same spots. Like, it was the exact same movie until a certain point. And to me, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't want to say that that's not right.
I want to say that's not right.
One of the reasons I don't want to say it's not right is because, like, it made me curious. Like, what does Christian and Mads think about, like, they're the ones who wrote this, right? Like, how do they feel about this? Because they, like, literally took their script and just made it into an American film, you know?
Yeah, but it doesn't even take place in America.
And that's the thing. That's where I feel like, why? Like, why?
What is the point of this?
And
blumhouse.
But here's the thing.
Problem.
Yeah.
But Christian is the one who said, like, Blumhouse reached out to him.
Yeah.
And wanted to make an American version of it.
Good.
And so he liked it.
Yeah.
And so that's what makes me feel like, okay, well, then maybe he appreciated that they kept his wording and his, they clearly appreciated his film. And so maybe it's not bad that they did that.
I think it's bad.
But
still bad.
So with opinion. That though, they still wrote both movies. Like, they were the writers of the original, the brothers, but they wrote the screenplay for this movie as well. Which, I mean, it's basically
clearly
almost the same.
The literal actual.
But there are differences though. Like, they wrote those differences in there too.
Yeah, at the very end.
It's like the third act.
Yeah.
The last 20 minutes or so.
No, well, there's still slight differences.
Yeah.
In there.
Slight. Super slight.
Yeah.
And
Super
this is the
slight.
thing. Okay, so there are some differences that I do like and I do appreciate. That maybe weren't even necessary, but I think it added to it, or it like was more to think about, or more depth of the characters and everything. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird to watch a movie and be like, wow, it's like the literal same lines.
I feel like we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves a little bit in comparing the two. But what I don't understand the most, and I didn't understand it when this movie was announced and when it was going to come out, is it was only 2 years ago when the original was released. It wasn't widely released. It's a foreign film technically. Half of it, about maybe more than half, is in English. There's some Dutch that is spoken.
I think it's less than half in English.
Okay. It's 49% English.
No.
There's more English than there's subtitles in this movie.
English. No.
There's more English than subtitles in this movie. Yes, there is.
I would say
you're just being ridiculous.
There were a lot of subtitles.
I would say there's more English.
Because I was thinking, why didn't they just make the American version just put it in English? Make it in English, and then bam, you have the... Like, it's not a different film.
Because that's not how America works. We like to take movies from other countries and just Americanize them, and we've done that several times.
This is, to me, the ultimate Hollywood spin on a remake. They made it Hollywood, especially the third act.
Oh, definitely the third act.
And so, with that in mind, I liked it. I liked the movie, and I had seen Speak No Evil, the original, before. I saw it 2 years ago when it first came out, and I remember liking that one, and I was like, okay, why are they remaking it? That's kind of dumb. This movie is probably not going to be that good. I liked it more than I thought I would. When we watched it without having seen the original for a while, I liked what they did with it. In the third act, I thought the suspense was pretty good. It was definitely more action than horror, I would say. This was, there's horror in the
topic.
The topic, yeah. But what you see on screen and stuff is a lot of action and a lot of suspense and stuff. So I liked it. I'll say I liked it.
Yeah.
And seeing the trailer, I knew how things were kind of going to play out. Like that in the trailer, there's the whole dance scene. I was like, okay, yeah, that really stood out to me. And so I was waiting for it in the new one. I was curious how they were going to do it. And I thought it was good, but I am going to consider the original with my rating. So.
Yeah. I can't remember what I was
So, Joel, did you just watch the original, or had you seen it before?
I watched it last night, and then I watched the remake today. Okay. So they're both very fresh.
It. Okay, so you hadn't watched it before, in 2022?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I never watched it. And so a lot of the times with these movies, they will, they like to Americanize these foreign horror movies. This movie was mostly, for some people, less than mostly in English, but but for me, I'm pretty sure it was more than 50% in English. But still, it's not. It's still in English. We didn't need this.
I didn't even remember subtitles.
It was so subtitled.
In the original, I did not even remember that, and I thought, why are they making a remake of an already English film that's 2 years old?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's
he
weird.
kept being like, we gotta get the subtitles off. Like, why is there still captions off? So he keeps like turning captions off, and then eventually he's like, oh, they're not even speaking English. I'm like, no, they are not. And stop messing with the captions because I need them.
But yeah, so they usually, will do that with like Japanese horror. They'll make them American and
there was a good stretch of time when we were doing that a lot in America.
Yeah, and they change up stuff about those movies. And I remember the last time that they did this was with Psycho, and that movie was when they remade Psycho, but they made it beat for beat, shot for shot, from the beginning to the end, music and everything. So it was just in color. Like it's the only difference.
Different actors. But
Well, yeah, different actors, but still, like everything else was exactly the same. So I really wasn't like watching this one, seeing everything was basically shot for shot. I really thought that the whole movie was going to be like that, not like changing up. I don't know why they did that. Honestly, I think sometimes countries think that we can't handle certain things, so they like to change stuff up so that we don't get too hurt or whatever.
No, it's Blumhouse, man. This is Blumhouse.
Well, also I think that Danny had a good point of like Hollywooding it.
Yeah.
Because not just not being able to handle it, but having to make it more action, more I would just say that more action and stuff, because I feel like the first one without those changes definitely qualified more as a horror.
Yeah.
Where this one, I could definitely see
it's like a thriller.
You saying, thriller, action, like the first one, that was horror.
Yeah.
To me.
So there's some character dynamics here that are interesting. You have the main couple, and kind of what's going on with them. You have their daughter and some of her like needs, I guess, that are displayed in the film, and it's definitely an interesting element, but it's like I feel like they didn't really do anything with it. I mean, with the daughter, yes, they did, because that was a key piece to the plot. But with the husband and wife, or are they? I don't even know if they're married.
They're married.
They're married, but
they're just going through.
I don't know. Towards the end, it was like, were they making up a story about? I'll talk about it later. Anyways,
yeah.
But I just didn't feel like.
Was it?
Were we supposed to feel like, oh, they overcame this, or like what was the point of that?
Of that dynamic, the husband and wife dynamic.
Yeah,
I think
without giving anything away.
I think just to help you, one, like for just character development, like for you to kind of
easy.
Well, no, but like to me, that is something that I did appreciate in this movie more than the original, where I felt like the original, I wasn't invested in the characters enough, and I think even especially with how it all turned out, I would have liked to have been more invested in the characters. By understanding their relationship, their personality, like I think that part of it was like trying to decide, do I like these people or not? Am I rooting for them or not? Who am I rooting for and who am I not rooting for? I
don't know that it helped. I guess that's what I mean. I don't know that it helped me want to root for them.
That is the thing, is like,
I
feel
did.
like in
I was kind of annoyed with them a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like in some parts it was like, but I feel like that was also kind of it was hard to even feel like you were rooting for them. Like, I remember sitting in the film at one point, like being like, oh, go. And then like thinking, wait, am I even rooting for the right people? Like, like who should I be rooting for right now? You know, like, and I think it just caused you to have your own like feelings and like, I don't know who is even best in this scenario right now, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But I felt like it evoked emotion. It evoked emotion. It like the dynamic of like why they were where they're at, you know, what is going on with them, what's happening between the two of them, that evoked emotion. The like their personalities. I liked their dialogue better. I felt like they had more dialogue, maybe because I didn't have to read it. And I could see it. Plus, like, we didn't get to hear or know what I mean, this is comparison again, but with the first one, like the dialogue between the
other
two,
couple.
like we didn't even get to read their dialogue.
Yeah, when they were speaking.
Yeah, when they were speaking a different language, we couldn't, there wasn't any subtitles for it. And so we only got half the dialogue. Maybe that's why you guys think that there was all this English. They weren't actually speaking English. We just didn't get to see what they said.
There was actually no English at all in that movie.
Yeah, there wasn't.
And yet we just understood everything. I don't know. It's crazy.
But I don't know. I just felt like, I feel like all the characters, they all had their own personalities. They had their own depth to them. And I feel like this movie did better at that than the original.
Okay.
The original, I didn't feel like the characters had that much depth.
Yeah. Yeah. I just like there's depth, but I just didn't care about the depth. Like it just didn't. I mean, there was one thing I guess that did like was brought up later in the film that was like, oh man, you had to mention that. Like that's a low blow, you know, and we can talk about it later. But
remember,
you know, so that was interesting. Not interesting, but something that mattered, I guess, and evoked emotion in me. But their whole the issues or whatever that they were having was like, I don't know. It didn't make me feel like, oh, I'm rooting for them to work this out. Like I just didn't like it.
And I don't know that it was necessarily for us to like be rooting for them to work things out. It was more like, okay, are they going to be able to put aside their own stuff to band together and get through this and like focus on their child, you know?
Yeah.
Because you're so focused on your own stuff that you need to just like focus on your child right now and focus on the situation at hand instead of like worrying about what happened then, what happened now, you know, like, or, you know, then whatever. Focus on what's going on right now. And just...
I didn't have any time where I thought that their issues were going to make them not focus on what's happening.
It did make them not focus on what was happening at times.
I think there's just a way of adding drama to it too. So
yeah,
more Hollywood.
Like, I mean, all like most relationships like have their issues and everything. So they're just probably trying to make some people relate to it, I guess.
Yeah, Danny's just not used to that relationship
Can't
struggle with marriage
in their shoes. I did, and I didn't like it, but I did feel like there was tension between the daughter and the father, and how the mother was treating the daughter and everything.
Mm-hmm.
There was that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't like it. Like I was like, I don't like this story.
But at the same time, it was like,
I don't like
it
any
added
of these people.
more depth to the child struggle too, of like what she was going through, because in the original,
Keep talking about that.
I know, because I don't think it had that depth.
Yeah.
And this is the thing, is I think the reason why these personalities didn't matter as much to you is because you did see the original first. You did know what was coming, and you
just saw this.
Because you saw the original when it first came out. You had it already in your mind that, why are they even doing this? What's the point? Like, so
I do think that affected my viewing of this movie a lot. Because I was like, okay, let's get to the good stuff. Like, what I wanted was the discomfort, the awkwardness, the like tension between the couples.
Yeah.
And that's what I was like going into this movie wanting. And I did feel like it was good, but I feel like it was kind of lacking at the same time, because there was other things that were kind of focused on that I didn't care for.
You wanted it exactly like the original, like beat for beat for beat.
No.
I know.
I didn't want it more beat for beat. I wanted it to be the same, like, kind of setup and everything. I didn't want the same exact lines and same exact scenes, and I didn't want that. But you know, I that's what I was looking forward to. So, it was like, how uncomfortable is this going to be?
Yeah. And okay, I know I keep bringing up the original, but I'm wondering if part of that uncomfortable, that discomfort in the original had more to do with the score.
Yeah.
Because
true.
I think that really added to the original.
Yeah.
And I think that was one of the biggest things lacking in the new one.
Yeah, I would agree. There, there is some differences, and so we'll get into that. We've already kind of gotten into that, but
sorry, I'm not good at this whole breaking it up.
we'll get into spoilers more so in the both films, so we won't talk about the third act so much. We did say it was more action packed and Hollywood and all that, and we'll talk about kind of the difference with the original and how it's not. And then we'll get more in depth on what we mean by that later on. But do you guys, I mean, we've kind of talked about negatives without considering the original. Do you guys have any negatives on your just experience watching this one?
I like Trina go because you're the one that's watched this movie before watching the original one. So if you hadn't seen the original after, like, how would you like this movie? Like, what were your, I guess, you were on negatives, so what negatives did you have for it, like, without watching the original one?
Before seeing the original, what negatives did I have? Like,
just take the original one away from your mind for a second.
I'm trying to think. Like, I feel like there were just certain times that it was like really dumb choices and dumb things that they were doing. Like, it was to me, it was hard to put myself in their shoes of like, why would you even do this? How are you even in this position right now? Like, there were so many times that happened that it was like, oh my gosh, like there were solutions in so many cases and that's where it was like almost like I don't even know if I want to root for you at this point because
well, there was a line that kind of like that was said like a stranger's type line at the end of the movie that kind of
exactly
that kind of talks about what you're talking about here.
Yeah. So and I liked that line. I really liked that line, and I thought that line went especially well in this one. But yeah, I think that was my biggest negative though, was without seeing the original. I think that was my biggest negative is just being annoyed with the characters, being annoyed with like, oh my gosh. I mean, I will say, because Danny and I seem to have quite the luck. The audience in this movie.
Oh, you got another audience?
During our showing. Oh my gosh. We had a couple in back of us that was like an older couple. And this man, he didn't know how to whisper. So he's talking in a full grown man voice. Like full volume man voice.
That's annoying.
Deep grown man voice. And telling his wife like everything that's happening, like to the point of, well, she's like, there's no windows. And he's like, well, that's kind of how architecture was in France. And like talking about like, oh, this is how they vacation over here. I know. This is how they vacation here. This is what vacations are like over here. Oh, I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that they, did this or whatever? Like literally having like living room conversation in the theater. Yeah. And like top volume. There were times in the movie that it was like, dude, like this movie is loud. Like this theater has good speakers. And I still am having a hard time figuring out what is happening right now because you are taking over.
Yeah. So annoying.
So there were certain times where I was like, it's hard to get into this, but I think it was more so the audience, like but yeah, anyway.
There was these I think they were younger
people in front. Oh, they were definitely younger.
In front of us. And so you were talking about them making bad decisions and dumb decisions. And so gosh. These people in front of us, a few times they were like, oh my God, bruh.
Oh my gosh. And then
that was funny to me.
Yeah, they were funny. It was a little much when they started being like, oh, like in GTA. and they're like talking, like laughing about their own experiences playing GTA, like within, like somehow this was bringing this to their mind. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my gosh, guys, like we're still in the theater. And then the people next to me seemed completely confused at certain points. And so they're I don't know if you could hear them as much because they're whispering to each other like, what happened there? Like trying to figure stuff out. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, we have so much
it's not a complicated movie.
No, it's not. There's like 5 characters in the whole movie. So
yeah, it was like, wow, there is so much happening in this theater right now.
That's crazy. Sometimes I'm glad that I have a theater that there was like 4 people total in my theater today when I went. So, I don't know how it stays in business with that, but
and we tend to go to like opening night too.
Yeah.
So Friday night or Thursday night,
you
depending
like
on
all
what.
People.
Yeah, so a lot of people tend to go to those. But okay, Joel, did you have any negatives you wanted to share?
I mean, honestly, it did. Like, I didn't mind it as much as Danny did. Like the whole like fighting between the couples and everything, but. There were parts that was like, okay, you guys just don't need to be talking about this like right now. Like this is like there were definitely moments that it's like, okay, like we can move on from this part now. We get it.
Yeah.
You're in a rough patch in your relationship, and but yeah, honestly, that was my biggest complaint about it. My negative, and it wasn't really that. There were just moments that was like that. Like I kind of like at first that we knew that this was a relationship that had its issues, like most relationships do.
Yeah.
But sometimes they just talked about it too much.
Yeah. I could see that. And on the other hand, because I honestly found their dynamic to be like more of a positive on my end. Partly I liked how it progressed. Like, and that's where like I could see how like, yeah, they got a little too like it went a little long, or it was like, okay, do you really need to be talking about this right now, kind of thing. But at the same time, I felt like it added, like, I liked how it was like there were little hints right at the beginning about certain things, and then it was like those little hints progressed, and then there was the big blow up of like them arguing about it. And I was like, I don't know, I felt like it was natural. I felt like it was like, yeah, sometimes we do just start talking about it even when it's like shouldn't be the forefront, but it's like that's all I can think about right now, and I'm so like done with holding this in, and I need to just talk to you about it right now.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, I just felt like their relationship felt kind of natural. Like their feelings felt raw to me. And it seemed like they really did feel what they were supposed to be feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that stuff is fine. I just didn't really think it went with the movie. I just didn't really care for it in the movie. So my big negatives are just how directly it was like the original.
But taking out the original.
Yeah, taking out the original.
Yeah.
The relationship stuff was just, I don't know, I didn't really like it. And I think some of the stuff with, what's the little boy's name?
Ants.
Ants. Yeah.
Ants, yeah.
The other one was
was kind of like predictable. Maybe not to the extent that we learn, but it was like, okay, especially if you saw the trailer, you're like, okay, something's wrong here with this boy. Like, and it was pretty much right off the bat that we, they get to the house and we see
10 minutes of the movie.
It's like, okay, something's wrong here. And then, some of the decisions of the characters was just pretty lame. I didn't like, and this is maybe not like horrible for the movie. I just like when movies, you can understand the layout of the environment.
Oh, yeah.
For this movie, I was like, okay, they're upstairs. Why are they going upstairs? Why don't they go over here? And then why are they way over there now? And why is this a good idea to set this on fire? And, it was like, okay, why are you doing these things, first of all? And I don't even know where you're at for most of the movie.
Yeah, they explain the fire part, but...
What was that?
They explain the fire part, but...
Yeah, they explain why they're doing it, But why are you even over there? Like, why?
Okay, and that's something that the couple behind us was very confused about. And if you were listening to them, he explained it. I don't know if he was right, but he had a reason.
I mean, they did explain. Oh, let's do that. So then this happens, but it's like, why are you even over there? Why do you have to do this in the first place? Like, why'd you even get to that point? And
Well,
where are you in the house? How'd you get there? I thought you were over here. You were downstairs, then you went upstairs, went the front door. That's just like the cliche horror thing to do.
That's the
but
thing.
I don't see it so blatant.
Yeah.
Usually I'm like, okay, they're going upstairs. There's a reason for it.
Yeah.
For this one, I was like,
I think that goes along with the decisions made.
Yeah.
And it was definitely like, okay, this is just a classic horror situation where they're getting ready to set themselves up for, this to happen or whatever.
Yeah.
And half the time it was like, what room are we in?
Yeah.
And where, I don't know, like the layout of the house was definitely very confusing and hard to follow and figure out. And I think that's why our couple was like talking about it so
the
much.
architecture and stuff.
Yeah. They were like so confused. And
there's no windows. That was really random.
She was really bothered by the window situation.
That was really
random. And the whole like environment of that place, but I think that I also added value too because it made it like really weird and creepy. But
all right, let's rate it. I'm going oh man, I'm going 78.
78.
Yeah, it's good. I liked it, but I can't rate it too high just because of what I went in knowing. And it'd been 2 years, so I didn't remember the lines in the script, and even some of the actual events. I didn't remember them, and then watched the original, and then it's like, okay, yeah, there it is. Same movie.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay, Joel.
I like this one as well. And I'm not sure if I liked the differences that this movie did more than the original. We will definitely talk about the differences there because there are some for sure. I really like the acting. I think they all did a really good job.
Yeah, the acting was good.
Yeah. And I think I'm going to give this one an 80.
Okay.
So
solid.
Yeah.
Okay. So I told you I'm going to give you this one 2 different scores. So as a movie on its own, without taking the original into consideration, which is not fair. And it is what I wanted to do to watch this movie. I wanted to be able to watch it as its own movie.
We saw the trailer for months.
For so long.
That's probably the best thing about this.
Yeah.
We don't have to see the trailer anymore.
I really liked the trailer.
Yeah.
The trailer did not give things away. It got you intrigued. It got me really, really excited to be like, whoa, I want to see this. He kept talking about, oh yeah, that scene was really, really uncomfortable. That's what you kept saying with the dancing.
Dance?
Yeah. And he's like, I wonder what this is going to be like. Oh yeah. And I could tell he wasn't, he wasn't looking forward to this movie. Because he had seen the original and he's like, well, you got to see the original. And I'm like, I'm not going to see the original because I want to do
it made sense
my own way. And I'm very glad I did. And because of that, and I think the trailer did a great job with being a trailer.
Yeah. Hooking you.
Yeah. Hooking you, but not giving it away.
Which is crazy because Blumhouse loves to give everything about their movies away in the trailer. So
yeah. So I'm pleasantly please, whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, as a movie on its own, standalone movie, I give this an 83. I would definitely watch this again. I enjoyed it. It's a movie that I would want to see again. And I was very pleased right, after coming out of the movie. I was like, okay, that was a movie, man. And it left me feeling good. Like I felt like, all right, I would definitely watch that again. After watching the original, I felt like I can't stick with that grade, knowing what I know with the original. Okay. One, the word for word, and not just word for word, but like scene for scene, like oh my gosh, the same movie. And no reason to, like, you could have made it more. If you're making an American version of it, make it more Americanized. Like, have them travel in like an American way or whatever. Like, I don't know.
Maybe they could have met in Florida or something, like on vacation on the beach or you know.
And like,
and then went to the country.
And they didn't have
somewhere.
to like they're from America, but they moved to this other country and are restarting their life. Like, they didn't have to have that. They could have just, like, I don't know. We'll talk about it more. But that and the third scene, or the third, whatever you call it, act.
Third act.
After seeing the original, I'm just like, I don't know how I feel about it. I liked it before seeing the original, but I don't know how I feel now. So I'm going to give it, I'm going to go with yours of 72.
72.
No, 78.
I said 78.
78. 78.
Really
I was at 82. I was at 82.
Okay.
A 78 for the
for the score.
for after seeing the thing.
All right, cool. So now we will move to the original. So let's
hanging tight.
Something up here. Real quick. Hell yeah, here we go. Whoa!
Oh man, it's crazy.
There we go.
How'd you do that?
Evil.
Speak evil.
All right, so the original, Speak No Evil, 2022. Joel, can you tell us who's a part of it?
All right, so this one stars. I'm only gonna do like maybe one thing of theirs because we're not gonna know anything of theirs anyway. This one stars Morten Bjørgen. He's Bjorn. He is the dad, not the James McAvoy character. He was in. I have a few things on here, but he was in The Promised Land, and Loving Adults. And then we've got Sitzel Siem Koch, Koch. She is Louise. She is the wife of the guy, and she was in The Day We Died.
All right.
And then we've got Phasia Van Hewitt. He is Patrick. He is our James McAvoy in this movie. And he was in Amsterdam Undercover for 8 episodes.
All right.
And then it was written by Mads and Christian Taftrup. And I already said what they did for the last movie. And this was also directed by Christian Taftrup as well, who directed Parterapi, 10 episodes, A Horrible Woman, Let the Evil In. Let the Evil Go West. I have these words like together for some reason, which is an upcoming horror movie, which I guess comes out like next year or something. So yeah.
All right.
Which is funny about that because this was written and directed by Christian Taftrup, and the new one was written and directed by the same person, not Christian, but the other person.
The other one. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Not the other brother, but the other person involved in the writing.
Yeah.
Forgot what his name was, but yeah, he was a writer and the director for that one. So I like when they're involved that much.
Yeah.
In the writing and directing process.
So we've got a Danish family visiting a Dutch family. They met on a holiday. What was supposed to be an idyllic weekend slowly starts unraveling as the Danes try to stay polite in the face of unpleasantness.
Oh.
I think that right there is the reason why I liked this movie. The trying to stay polite in the unpleasantness, the discomfort and the awkwardness, and like, when do I say something about this? When is it like their culture? When, those things. But let's talk about the audience and the critics.
Yeah. So Rotten Tomatoes, where at the 2024 one, they were completely even. This one, they are so different. The tomato meter, where the critics rate it, is fresh. We're at an 84%. But the audience is at a 56%. It is rotten popcorn.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, and no, I'm not super duper surprised. And we're not going to talk about why for my interpretation of this until we get to spoilers. But I have some thoughts on that for sure. So then IMDb is at a 6.6, and then Google is at a 2.6.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. I will tell you, Cody Leach, who I watch pretty regularly, he did not like this movie, but he liked the new one.
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah. I really, really, really can understand that.
Yeah, me too. So same setup, same, as we said, scenes.
Yeah.
Pretty much we get to the home the same way. Some of the same stuff with, the discomfort, the things that they talk about, the things that they do that the, couple we're following are uncomfortable with. The whole dance thing is the same, for the most part.
Yeah.
And there's a really, really uncomfortable part that is more egregious in this one, I would say, than the new one. And then the third act is
more
very
forgiven.
Different. Yeah, in this one.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where the like I don't want to say cultural, but like, is there a reason for that? I'm not sure.
Which egregious act?
We're going to talk about that in spoilers.
Okay, yeah.
There's something in bed.
Talk about it right now.
All I said was bed.
Stop saying
I know what you're talking about. And I actually have opinions on that as well.
Okay, I look forward. Kind of. I don't know if I look forward to talking about any of it, but
it's a darker movie. It's darker.
Yeah.
It's scarier. It's more horror. The score, the atmosphere, everything is darker, heavier, more just uncomfortable, and all of that.
Yeah,
it is all over this movie.
Yeah,
I would say it's more mean-spirited.
And to me, the characters weren't as viable though. Like I don't know. I couldn't get into these characters. Like none of them.
Yeah, they're just like regular people. There's nothing too interesting about them.
And like they don't have much personality. They don't. I'm just not invested in them. And even like the villain, like he's not creepy or scary or I don't know. I don't feel like he pulled off that role of being like charming and then totally uncomfortable all in the same breath, like
When
the
I
other
first saw
character
this,
did.
I was like, whoa, that guy's good.
Really?
And
I didn't get that from him at all.
But then I would say that James McAvoy did a better job.
Oh.
And I was like looking forward to seeing how he would do because I thought this guy did good. And so I'm like, okay, let's see how he can do. And I think he did better.
So maybe that changed my feeling.
I think you had such a high bar.
Yes, I had a high bar on that character for sure.
And he didn't.
And I think the acting in the new one, it was so good. Yeah. The acting in the new one was so good. The only character that I didn't really like the acting of in the new one was the daughter. And I mean, she's a little kid, so I'm not gonna fault her.
She was 12.
Yeah.
12. You mentioned that like 5 times.
Yeah, her age was. Although I did start liking her.
They were talking about her
end.
being 13.
They were talking about you're almost 12 is what he was saying.
Oh, I thought it was almost 13.
Yeah, no, you're 12. Yeah, it was 13.
He was saying
Joel saw it today.
She was 11.
Yeah,
I saw it today.
Yeah.
And he mentioned it like 6 times. So it's just like
Joel
get it. I had a
ticker.
So
it's like I am sick of hearing about her age.
No, I think that it would have worked better if she was younger in that movie.
Oh, like interesting, because she's much younger in this movie.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that works better for her character being younger, I think.
Yeah.
For what she was, for the whole reasons why the dad was saying you're too old for this. Like you're almost 12. Like I think those scenes, I mean, that wouldn't have been an issue if she was younger. And
but they needed it to be an issue.
Yeah.
It can still be an issue. It can still be an issue. It was an issue in this movie too. Yeah. Her needing it.
Not really for 1 second. For 1 second.
For 1 second.
A pretty crucial second.
Nah. It didn't play a big enough part in this one, and I think
it made more sense for the dad to do what he did in this one than in the new one.
That one part definitely made more sense in this one. The new one, they were trying too hard to do the same scene instead of just making their own scene.
Yeah. And I was annoyed with that stuff in the new one.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, you guys are trying to hit on this like soft parenting stuff or this overly, the different sides of the spectrum with parenting.
Yeah.
And it's like,
but I think that is something that parents struggle with.
Yeah, but it's like, it's too.
It's just because
I want a horror movie. I don't want to talk about these cultural like things going on right now. Like I look at that stuff every day. I'm like, no, let's get to the scary stuff.
That is scary. Parenting with someone you don't agree with. That's scary. You just don't know.
But yeah, it was. Yeah, I didn't like it at all. For this one, I thought it was kind of like sweet almost because she is so little, and it's like, oh man, I felt more bad for her in this one.
Yes, but also I was super annoyed with her, like.
In this,
you just don't like the kids. You don't like the daughter. This one or
in that scene, I don't want to give it away. We'll talk about it in spoilers. But man, I was like, "Are you serious?" Like,
all right. In this one and not in
yes, because of a certain thing.
All right. So yeah, as we said, the third act much darker.
Oh gosh.
It leaves an impact. I would say this one. I did not forget what happens at the very end. I feel like in a couple years I'll forget what happens in the very end of the new one.
I've already like started forgetting.
Yeah, it just doesn't leave as much of an impact.
Because it's like a Hollywood
Typical,
ending.
yeah.
It's a Hollywood third
Yeah.
act.
Yeah.
Definitely, I think that you hit that right on the nail.
On the head.
On the head.
And there's some characters that get that too.
And you like that you explain that
Spoilers.
so perfectly though, like that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Because that's exactly what it is they took this this and decided to do it in a Hollywood version.
And that's what always happens.
That's that third act
remakes.
is that Hollywood spin on it. And I think that's what the reason why it's a Hollywood spin is audience are more comfortable with it. Audience are okay with it.
More of a mainstream.
They like
film.
that.
Yeah, it's Blumhouse. It's
You
be in
leave
all the theaters.
Yeah, and you leave the theater feeling like, all right.
Yeah.
I want to see that again.
Yeah.
Instead of like,
you'll see another
movie. What did I just watch?
Yeah.
You know? And so I think that's a big part of that audience score versus the critic score. And everything, because it's just like, this was
more difficult. More of a difficult movie to watch.
Yeah.
More things are.
It doesn't leave you like, oh, I want to watch that again.
No. No. This is.
Isn't that the point? Sometimes you want to watch movies again, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's the thing. So you have to decide what is it that you want to feel when you end watching a movie.
Yeah, that's tough because sometimes it's like, I like movies where they're so heavy and just heavy with atmosphere and like just uncomfortable. And I don't want to talk too much about the ending. And I don't really want to watch it again. I kind of like that more sometimes than it just depends on how bad it is, you know, and how.
So I think of like
I don't know. It's hard to explain because there are definitely certain movies where I'm like, okay, that was good, but too far.
So I think of like Pearl and X, how we've talked about like, and then Maxine, you know, like how we've talked about like one is definitely better for the rewatchability aspect, but then another is definitely better for the, like for the theatrical, but not necessarily theatrical, but like the cinematic part of it, you know, like the acting, the feel, the just wow,
the art,
you know, the art.
But even those movies don't go nearly as dark.
No. They don't go as dark as this. But I think about it in that sense of like, Pearl is less rewatchable. You don't end thinking like, oh, let me put that back on. Let me watch that one more time. It's like you're fulfilled when you watch it. But you're not like sitting there uncomfortable like, I never want to see that again kind of thing. Where this one,
I feel like this one kind of walks that line. This one, it's like, oh man, I don't even know. Like, I don't know if I'm okay right now. And I mean, that's kind of the point of horror, though. Sometimes, you know.
Sometimes
it can be fun, and then that's the point. And then this one, I mean, it's an original. First of all, I I remember the ending, but I mostly liked it for everything leading up to it. The ending, I don't know that I liked. I wouldn't say I liked the ending, but I will say it's more impactful, and it definitely leaves a mark.
Yeah.
But I will always like this movie for how it leads up. I feel like I want to say it did a better job. But that's because of the bias that I have toward this movie, because it was original. All the scenes were the same.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, no, I'm going to lean more toward this movie.
Yeah.
For that reason.
The dialogue definitely was good because it was clearly used again. But I don't know. The characters were so bleh. Like, I'm like, it wasn't good build up. It wasn't.
It was good build up.
It was like
the motivation wasn't nearly as clear in this one as it was in the new movie.
Yeah,
they do say the same thing.
That is true.
There's the same line in this one,
and so that informs you.
Yeah.
No. Oh wait, hold on. The motivation of why they did it, or the motivation of why they were going there.
The motivation of they did say
the exact same line.
They do, but I may have to wait until spoilers to talk about this. But there's more to their motivations in the new one, I felt, than there was in this one.
Yes, you're right, because there's that whole speech.
Mm-hmm.
There's that whole, like, because he says that same line, but then he adds to it. He says, da 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 da. Like, I'm not gonna say it, obviously, because
that's what he says.
It is.
Yeah,
it is a spoiler. But I see why you have to wait to. Yeah. That's when the subtitles didn't kick in.
Yeah.
But no, I see why you have to wait till the spoilers, because I know what you're talking about, and I agree. And I was kind of waiting for that when we were watching this one and thinking, oh, are they gonna have that same, like, kind of like monologue that he went off on? And I liked that in the original.
Yeah.
I mean, in the new remake. One. Yeah.
I guess there was more to the motivation. They did keep that same line. I don't know if it was the exact same.
Probably it was.
I think it was.
It was. Oh, it was.
And it was the lines. Like,
yeah, it was very strange.
Yes,
like, I
was thinking of you, Joel, on that when I was like, "Oh man, is this gonna be like worthy enough?"
And it was. It definitely was. I would love. This is kind of like off topic if you're talking about like the Strangers kind of thing, but if the Strangers Chapter 2 ended the way this movie ended, and then Chapter 3 ended the way the remake ended, like kind of that would be kind of like darker,
that would be cool.
And then the end of the contrast between Chapter 2 being really dark, as this movie was, and then Chapter 3 the conclusion of their trilogy being like the remake, more action, and
I actually
going
like
after
that.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that idea. I don't think it would happen because the audience doesn't like seeing an ending like this.
Well, I think they might if they know it's not over yet.
If they know there's another one coming.
Yeah.
I
don't know that we're gonna get those.
We're probably not getting.
I was wondering. Like,
I don't know if we're gonna get them at all.
They were rewriting chapters 2 and 3.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Well, maybe they'll see this and have some more direction.
Be like, let's get a dark ending for chapter 2, and then an actual conclusion for chapter 3.
There we go.
But anyway,
so there isn't too much to talk about with this one other than what we've mentioned. Aside
from, like I said, I did say it earlier, but I'll say it specifically in this one. The score in this one is what makes this movie.
Yeah.
That is my feeling.
Much better.
I feel like if you took the score out, it would the characters do not seem creepy. They don't seem uncomfortable. I disagree with you on that. I don't find any discomfort in the humans in this movie.
Humans.
Yeah. The woman.
That's because you already saw the new
I know.
one.
And they did such a good job. Like they did a really good job acting in that one. I almost feel like I should have given it a higher score.
It's a ripoff.
With the writer's permission.
It doesn't matter.
It does though. That does make a difference.
I mean, it's
Because
better, I guess.
he
but I
likes
don't
it
care.
and he's happy about it, and so
Well,
He likes money. They like money.
Yeah, they didn't really have
That's
to
what
work too hard to
Blumhouse
write
is
this
a-
movie again.
they didn't write it again. They just gave
or
him
direct
him
it
the
again
script.
or whatever they
No, they just gave him.
Yeah, they like. I think. Well, I think they
Here's
were.
our script.
Yeah.
Just in case you
Put it in
wanted to
English
know
for
what
some of
these
it.
people said, where we didn't have any subtitles or whatever. This is what their actual dialogue was.
Yeah, I mean,
This way, a
and that's
bigger
the thing
audience can
is
use this movie.
we had to
Sees the
read
remake.
so much.
It's.
Oh my
I think
god!
that's only listening for you.
all right, let's get into ratings.
Okay, let's hear it.
I'm gonna rate this the exact same, 78.
Okay.
Honestly, I think I am going to do the same as well. I was thinking that like there are parts of this movie that I do like better than the remake, but there are definitely parts that I will rewatch the remake more than I would this movie. Yeah, so I'm giving it an 80 as well, or not as well, but same as my previous score.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not giving this the same score. While I appreciate this for being the original script, and I appreciate the lines in this movie. The
script
scenery.
and the lines.
Yeah. The script. I appreciate the script. I mean, not the whole script because I don't appreciate all the foreign language, but no, I appreciate the script and like the scenes and everything in this movie that are the exact same in the new one. I don't think that the characters had depth. I did not care for the characters. I didn't care one way or the other. If there weren't kids involved, I don't know that I would have cared at all. I do appreciate their guts to go the full length with this movie that they did.
Yeah.
I appreciate that as a horror movie. The acting fell very short for me. So
it wasn't bad acting though.
Yeah.
It was just not as good or as extreme as the new one.
I don't know. It just was.
They should speak English, right? Like that's
no. It's not even about.
Good.
It's not even about the English and whatever. It's like the wife was so like the wife of the villain wife. I don't know. I guess in some areas, like that whole stuff. Okay, but I don't know. I'm gonna give it 74.
Okay, so not that much lower than the remake.
This one's tough for me. I gave it the same score, but it's like certain aspects I like a lot more of it in this one, but I'm not going to rewatch it. I like the level of horror that they go, but then it's like it's kind of walking that line of too far. The score, the atmosphere, I think is better in this.
The score is way better. That's part of what keeps it up higher.
So it's like there's positives for both.
Yeah.
But if this movie didn't go so far and had maybe a little more creepiness with the interactions between the two families, with the lead, I don't remember his name, Patrick or something.
Yeah, Patrick.
If he went up to James McAvoy's level, if he was at that level, then this movie would have been higher. But
yeah,
James McAvoy really made the new one.
But even the victim couple, they were just
they were kind of
so
boring.
Bland.
They just weren't. There wasn't much to them.
They're the main ones that I'm like, ugh. They just were.
They weren't like bad. They were just regular people.
I did not know. They weren't even regular.
I didn't like her reasonings for wanting to leave in the middle of the night. I thought
oh my gosh, that was the most annoying. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I was like, really? Like these are the reasons? Well,
and it was just say what actually happened. That's reason enough. Oh my.
Well, she eventually says it.
I know, it's so.
Yeah, after they come back though.
Yeah.
She didn't say it when they were in the car.
No. Well, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
In spoilers. But yeah, I mean the reasons that she gave the couple.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, exactly. Yes.
But she does tell them.
Eventually.
Within that same scene. That's the thing. They're trying to be polite and not like.
Okay, but there's a point where it's it's stupid. No, it was stupid.
She didn't want to have to bring it up. She wanted to say something else. Hopefully that would be enough for them to not continue to ask questions.
No, but the things that she said were dumb.
Yeah, they weren't.
She didn't have good reasons. Yeah.
They weren't good reasons to want to leave in the middle of the night to escape.
Yeah, in the middle of the night.
They were the same reasons though. That the new one.
No.
They were.
No, she flat out says it in the new movie.
Yeah.
But she has no problems speaking in that one. But
yes.
There were different
the
reasons.
Guy then who said those reasons.
Yeah.
Because the reasons about her room and her sleeping on the floor and you know those things were said.
Yeah. But they're not good enough reasons to you're basically scared for your life if you're running from in the middle of the night. Being like she doesn't like her sleeping situation is not a reason to leave in the middle of the night.
What I'm saying is they say it in both movies.
But in a different way. And in it was
the husband was being the polite one in the remake.
Yeah.
And it's not even said in this movie. That reason isn't even said in this movie. Like the daughter sleeping with them.
Yeah, it is.
Part.
Yeah. They do eventually say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're trying to be polite at first, but then they do say it. And it's not as
it's like the 87th thing mentioned. Everything else mentioned.
It's later. Yeah, it's.
But this is the thing, Joel.
It took them too long to come to.
And this is why we had to talk about it in spoilers more, because it was said, but then it was explained or excused within seconds. It was like, oh, okay.
Well, it's because she felt bad.
I'm sorry, that's not something you can excuse. And
the new one,
they completely made up reason.
Yeah,
in the new one,
I still like
this one. They knew the couple heard what was happening, and they just ignored it.
Yes,
yeah.
And so then she's just like, "Oh, so then that's okay." Okay, we have to talk about it in spoilers. We gave our rating.
Spoilers. If you want to know what we're talking about, patreon.com/scare talk is where you need to go, and we'll talk about those details and the differences in the endings. We'll get more detailed on that.
As of now, subscribe,
subscribe, like, all that good stuff.
Please.
And we will talk to you later if you are not on Patreon.
All right.
Let's get scary.
Yeah.